Hello, all you forest explorers. Welcome to another Branch Manager episode. This is episode number 29. I'm a couple kilometers northwest of Qualicum Bay, BC. I'm in a white pine plantation. This plantation is now approximately 18 years old. It has grown quite quickly. A few years ago, it was actually pruned. And there's a reason for pruning white pine. White pine is susceptible to a fungus, basically, that will kill it if it gets it early enough. Well, beside me here is a white pine that has not made it, and around the 12-year mark, it died and is basically decaying at this point. However, quite a few years ago, and I'm guessing probably about 10 to 11 years ago, these white pine were actually pruned. Pruning is one of the silviculture treatments that happens after reforestation. It's one of the things that's considered in plantations for various things, and one of them can be to prevent disease. This disease is very prominent on white pine, and as you can see, if it gets into it quick enough, it will kill the trees. The good news is, though, I will just show around here a broad view on the perimeter of this plantation. And those trees with the high crowns, like that at the top, those are all white pine. Now, the reason they made it that far, again, I'm saying around 17, possibly 18 years at the most of age, is the fact that they were pruned back several years ago. The pruning was actually done prior to any evidence of white pine blister rust, but foresters that came in here planted it and then reforested it, basically, came in afterwards and pruned the trees shortly after, pruned lower branches of the trees. At that point, of course, the trees are much smaller. However, the rule of thumb is that when you prune a white pine tree, that you prune it approximately 1/3 of the way up the stem. But you can see more behind me, a couple of white pines that were pruned more than approximately 2/3 of the way up the stem. The reason for that is that they're trying to eliminate the possibility of white pine blister rust entering in the lower stems, and that's where it does enter. So preventive maintenance is strictly a very simple, laborious treatment of removing the lower 2/3 of the branches of the white pine to pretty well ensure, at least there's a pretty good chance, that those white pine will survive once you've done that pruning. It's one of the treatments, like I said, that's used in the world of silviculture and succeeds, of course, reforestation. There are other many treatments that I won't talk about today, but it's worked well here. And in the meantime, we also have some evidence of some fir and cedar have come in naturally through Mother Nature. So we have to be thankful for this. We have sufficient stems per hectare to create a nice forest. And again, it's the dominant tree will be white pine, and that's good. So white pine, though, of course, they are light demanding, so they will need the light. And they're doing well. They're really going well into the light at this point, and we have a nice bright sunny day here. So this is an example, white pine. You can see that the forest, as and the flora basically has established pretty well after reforestation, and that's where the ground cover flora came from. And at that point, planting had taken place somewhere about the same time, and white pine. Now, white pine is not chosen quickly to be planted anywhere in the southern, southwest portion of British Columbia or Vancouver Island. When it's planted, you obviously have to think about pruning. So the pruning has to be done in a certain way. And of course, that pruning 2/3 of the branches up to the top, 2/3 of the way, will generally suffice. It's a rule of thumb again, like I said, but generally will suffice as enough height to the tree and branches so that the fungus, which will come from the lower portion or ground, will only go up so far, and then it will not make it to the live crown. Live crown being the green portion in the back. And if you do happen to go into a white pine plantation, of course, pine is pretty easy to see amongst other species. And you see this, and you see blister rust. The tree actually blisters from the fungus. And that's, of course, a sign, that's a symptom of disease. With that in mind, folks, I wanted to pass it on to you. Another bit of information that you may see in the forest. All you forest explorers, thank you for watching my episodes, and please continue to. And what I'd like to say, though, just to remind you, keep it real and keep it green.